So let's see how to toggle a higher voltage using Arduino. So when it comes to Arduino, Arduino is only operating 5 voltage, so it can't deal with higher voltage levels. Uh, so higher voltage levels needs to be uh, connected with Arduino using some sort of a device that handles both components independently, right? Which means a higher voltage shouldn't flow to the Arduino, as well as the Arduino voltage shouldn't flow to the higher voltage circuit as well. So both should be handled independently and separately. So such cases we using relays. So you can simply type relay. Then you have two types of relays. One is single port, dual uh, dual throat, something like that. So I'm gonna use this single pole dual SPDT one. So if I simply explain the circuit, basically what's happened over here is we have two separate circuits. One circuit is having a low voltage and other circuit is having higher voltage. For now I will just consider these two are both DC, but relay is basically used for the DC and AC transitions. So if you look at this one, you can use either DC or AC transitions. The circuit will be look like this. So relay is something like this. So it has a coil, then it will pull a switch using magnetic force when a current is flowing through this coil. So this is the higher voltage circuit. So I will assume it is AC source. So you have this AC source applicable bulb over here like this, right? So this is the AC circuit. Then the DC circuit is basically handled by the Arduino. So Arduino connected to this coil. Then Arduino is able to give some sort of a 5 voltage, right? So whenever this 5 voltage is received to the relay, a current will flow through the coil like this. Then there will be some magnetic force build up uh, in this direction, right? Because whenever current is flowing through a conductor, uh, magnetic force will be built up like this. So this magnetic force basically pull this switch to this direction. Then the switch will be connected or closed like this. So whenever this switch is closed, a current will flow through this circuit. Then this bulb will be turned on. Right? So that's the uh, circuit and the procedure. So when it comes to TinkerCAD, we can construct that circuit. So maybe let's grab our Arduino, and maybe we can take breadboard. Then we need a bulb. Then we need a power supply. So you can use this maybe. So I will just use DC power supply. If you want, you can use function generator. I think this one, we can use a function generator and take some sort of AC voltage out of it. But for the demonstration purposes, I will use some sort of a higher DC voltage, right? Then I need a relay. Yeah, I think those stuffs will be enough. So all I have to do is connect the relay over here like this. Then this is our bulb, this is our power supply, so I will use maybe 20 volt or something like that. So how do you know we can take this 5 voltage over here like this, and we can take this ground voltage like this. So ground basically black and 5 voltage basically red. Then this is the coil basically, and this is the switch. So this is represent the normally closed. So if you wanted to uh, use the normally closed one, you have to use this pin. If you want to use normally open one, you have to use this pin. Okay. uh, in either cases, the coil needs to be connected to the corresponding DC source. Then you can use one of the terminals for the corresponding AC source or higher DC source circuit. So first I will connect this coil to, let's say I need to flow the current in this direction, top to bottom. Then uh, basically this needs to be grounded like this. Then yeah, then this one needs to be uh, connected to the 5 volt. So maybe we can connect these two things together as well. Like this maybe. So this needs to be connected to the 5 volt, and this is our DC higher power source. So this basically connected to this bulb. Then I will move it over here. Then our bulb is connected to one of these terminals. So let's say maybe this one. So whenever you connect this pin over here, it will automatically connected to this pin, right? Because that's the way how breadboards are working. Then this is basically ground pin, so you can ground it as usual, like this maybe. Okay, so now it's grounded, and this is the flow, right? This the flow. Yeah, I guess instead of directly connecting this ground over here, maybe maybe we can use one of these poles as well. But I think it's easier if we connect this to the normally open one. Then we have to connect this ground not to this default ground but this one, because these are two individual circuits. So now if you look at the flow, this is the way the current flows, but it can't flow through this relay because it's normally connected to this terminal. So this is basically normally closed. If we configure like this, then other side is basically connected to the terminal. But whenever current flows through this coil, then this switch will be triggered to this position. Then this circuit will be closed, the current will flow through this circuit, then relay circuit, then to the ground, which means this bulb will be turned on, right? So we can now toggle start simulation. Yeah, so it is working, but the current is too high, so maybe we can reduce the voltage or something like this, 11 or something like this. Anyway, this is a higher voltage source and this is a 5 voltage source. So if you look at the relay now, so it is now closed, this position. And if you want, you can use a digital pin as well instead of using direct 5 voltage pin, uh, right? You can disconnect these two things instead of directly connecting 5 voltage source. uh, you can basically just do it like this, but instead of connecting directly over here like this, we can connect this terminal with some sort of a digital pin. So I will use maybe D2. So whenever I am sending D2 high signal, then the relay will be toggled, then the current will flow and the relay will be toggled, right? Well, if you specify like this, whenever you sending a low signal, the relay will be toggled on because it acts as a ground. Whenever you sending a high signal, it won't do anything. So I think uh, it's not quite good. So let's use this one, this digital thing, as our digital input. So this terminal will be connected to the some sort of a digital pin like this. Now if we go to the code, I'm using let's say pin 2. So pin 2 is output, and let's say it's some sort of a time interval. For each second I will blink this output. So if it is working correctly, the lights needs to be blink for each 1 second. So if I start simulating, yeah, so bulb is turned on for 1 second, then it is turned off for the 1 second, and you can see the current flow. So it basically flows some sort of a current whenever the coil is triggered, right? So you can see this relay circuit as well, so it is also triggering automatically. That's how we use or that's how we control a higher voltage source using Arduino.